welcome
to Forever 30s.
What are we talking about today?
Motherhood.
Good.
The bad.
The sad.
There's a lot of feelings coming with motherhood.
Yeah. Sentimientos encontrados.
I think it's very deep. It's the most important role that we have, that I feel like I have, that todos los sentimientos están aún más like magnified.
Would you say it's the role that is most judged?
100%.
¿Verdad?
Second would be like being a partner.
Yeah.
Thanks for suegras. Episode number 7. Go back. Go back a few episodes.
I think everybody thinks that they know the best way to do it, and whether that be moms, suegras, that's just difficult because then it doesn't allow you to open up and say, hey, estoy batallando con esto, or be honest and say, like, I'm not enjoying this, because then you feel like other people are gonna judge you or think that you don't love your kids.
I also think that each kid is different, so you can't parent them the same. I know, they're totally different. Natalia's personalities depends on the day.
I think about my siblings.
Yeah. No, y sí, porque te pueden decir, es que sí la hice yo, but that's you for your kids. But I have 2 kids, and I already know I parent them way, way differently. So you can't, there's not necessarily a one size fits all. That's where I feel most vulnerable, and not that I wouldn't take advice, but that
you're confident in what you're doing.
No, the way that what I'm saying is, like, if someone said something like, hey, well, have you tried, like, I don't know, muffling Mateo because he talks a lot, that I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm doing something wrong, because I take it so to heart what I do in parenting, that like any critique is
could be detrimental.
Yes.
Okay. I think for me it depends on who it comes from. The phrase that you and I have talked about that I just hate is when people say kids are just kids. I hate when people tell me, you're too strict, Natalia. Kids are just kids. Let her misbehave. Like, if I'm correcting her on something. And it's hard because no one knows your kid better than you. So you know when your kid's acting out of place. Or I feel like it's our job to prepare them for the future and to say kids are just kids and then they turn out all crazy. It's a disservice.
Yeah. And it for the most important human of your life.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, because I think back on a lot of the things that my parents were strict with me on, and I'm so grateful that they were strict on those things. And now when I'm going through it with Natalia, and I'm like, un día te vas a dar cuenta, mija. Es por tu bien, Natalia, no me ves así.
So do you think in that aspect that, like, it's the whole one size fits all? That this is how my parents did it, I worked out okay, so I'm going to do this with you?
No, because I could try to, and it's facts, because Natalia...
And it's facts.
Facts. Because Natalia everybody's going to respond different. Natalia responds very, very different from how I responded. Natalia is such a strong girl, stands her ground. Yo no era así, ¿verdad? Cohibida, súper de más, callada, no decía... Cuando algo me molestaba, and so that I admire from her, even though sometimes it drags me through the mud, and I'm just like, ¿por qué la hice así?
Just because I like that in you doesn't mean let it show every day.
Tone it down. And I don't think that she thinks she's being defiant or anything like that. That's just, ella me ve ser así every day. That's how she's grown up to be. Where to her, that's just normal. Of si le digo, no hagas esto aquello, and she's like, you're not being fair because of this. And sometimes she puts me in my place where I'm like, yeah, I'm being inconsistent. I'm not parenting you consistently. Some days I'm tired and I let you slide. And some days I got all this energy and I'm like, no.
You know what? And that works with Bere, the inconsistency that I'm like, I'm tired, baby, but can you just understand? Yeah. That I feel like it doesn't it's as taken advantage of. Mateo, on the other hand, if he sees me like slip up one day, he's like, aquí somos, and the rest of, like, it's all thrown out the window. So I do have to be consistent with one more than the other.
You think it's an age thing, or do you think it's a gender thing?
I do think it's an age thing, though, because Bere was the same way at that time. I think. We'll find out in 8 more years.
Mateo's rewriting all of the everything you thought.
All of history. What would you say is your biggest struggle in parenting?
My lack of patience. I am not as patient as I wish I was. Me desespero mucho because I feel like le tengo que decir las cosas mil veces. There are areas in which I feel like, I think I told you, she's having issues at school with other classmates, and son cosas like normales that I went through, but I dealt with them so differently that I have expectations for her that are unfair. Natalia lets go of things easier than me. I'm very like resentful, and she isn't.
And you've always been?
Yeah.
Since you were young?
Yeah. So Natalia, if someone says something mean to her, she'll like, I don't know, be like, mind your business, and then the next day they're friends again. Y yo no. Yo soy bien rencorosa. Like, don't talk to me. It's difficult for me, but I'm trying to let her be her own person, make her own decisions. And I do tell her, if something's hurting you, if it's making you uncomfortable, it's okay to say no. It's okay to separate yourself from people. So she's finding her own balance, but I do lose my patience, and a veces like, le grito, o a veces le digo, you know what, I just need a second to regroup, and then we can try talking about it. But Natalia is that person that's like, no, we're going to fix it right now. We're going to talk about it right now.
They say that that's anxious attachment.
And very much so.
Oh, they require so much patience. I feel also that comes with age, though, que no, la paciencia.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't think, I wouldn't label myself a patient person now, but I do know I'm more patient now than I was when Betty was younger. Mm-hmm. It was more short-fused. And
I guess for me, cuando la Natalia estaba chiquita, it was easier for me to say, está chiquita y no entiende. Mm-hmm. So I'm having patience. Where now I'm like, no, you know better. Mm-hmm. You know what the expectations are. You're about to be 11. You know the things that you can do that are okay and that you cannot do and they're not okay. You're going to get in trouble and you've chosen to do them. That's where I think I lose my temper a little bit more.
I think 8, and I've always said it, 8 to like 10, maybe even 11 is just like an age that you're hanging on
surviving.
There. Yes. Then you thrive the years before and the years after. But that age, they're pushing buttons to understand what the boundary is, to see how far they can get away with things. That's also when they start becoming like a little bit more hormonal.
And getting to know themselves too.
It's not a fun age.
I feel like I'm very affectionate with Natalia. Mm-hmm. But in comparison to how I see other people, I'm like, I'm not. And she's super affectionate. And I try not to kill that from her. But sometimes I'm like, okay, hugs over, please. Can we like take this up later?
I heard, and I try to be very conscious of it, that they say don't stop hugging until they let go first. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's true, because I feel like si ellos necesitan an extra 5 seconds and you're like, I gotta go, like, I don't know.
For me, it's not I gotta go. For me, it's I don't like hugs. And she's pretty good at like, okay, my mom's not a hug person, but she still hugs the shit out of me.
I think my biggest struggle is not feeling as confident as I think it naturally would come with the decisions that I make. I think when I make a decision, I don't just make it lightly, right? And I say, okay, this is my decision. This is why I think it's okay. This is how the kid, whichever one I'm talking about, has proven that, like, let's say it's better to talk to a boy. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That she's responsible, se da respetar, she's honest, so I'm going to allow for her to talk to a boy. So I don't think I make them lightly, but still when I make the decision with my kids is when I'm like, did I make the right decision? Am I like, mm-hmm. I don't feel as confident as when I make other decisions that I'm like, yeah, that's right.
Do you think that there are parents who feel confident in the decisions that they make for their children though?
I don't know. I think so. And they're not maybe the best parents, but I think even if you think like the old school way, the old school parenting, that it's just like, no. And they're like, this is because this is what's right. And they feel confident that the old school thinking that
they're right or they know better.
I'm trying to think of like just a scenario of, como antes de que decían, oh, no puedes vivir con un hombre hasta que no te cases. Mm-hmm. The very old school mentality. And this is because it's right and they know it, y que in their head, this is the correct way. They're confident about it. I don't agree with it. I don't think it's right, but they're confident when they're making that decision. And I feel like there's other things that are more not as, I would say, as important, if that's the word, that I doubt more. That I'm like, was that right? Was this correct? Or even when it's with consequences, I think I'm like, was I too harsh? Was I too light? Is the understanding and I try to talk, especially like with Mateo, because I'm like, I don't want you to understand that you're just grounded for no reason. This is the reason that you're getting grounded. And I've told him, you have good choices and you have bad choices that both have consequences. But I think just everything, I'm like, is this too much? Is it like todas las decisiones y pueden hacerlas más chiquitas?
Sí. Everything I do, I'm always like questioning myself, like, oh my gosh, what kinder is she gonna go to? I remember when I had to pick a school and she was 3. I was crying like it was college. Like, is this the right school? Am I ruining her future?
Even more though, because that's the first school and then you're letting them go. But I don't think everyone's like that. I think maybe because it's
so important to us.
And we don't take it lightly that...
Yeah. The fact that we know that there are little humans who are always looking at us and what we're doing, and they learn from us. Now, Natalia is learning through me. So being a role model to her is something that I try to be conscious about, even in dating. I keep my dating life very private. I don't want her to see something and say, well, Mom... Yeah, I want her to do her own thing.
With the dating life, I have a friend that she used to argue with her ex to the point that the girls saw her getting pushed down the stairs and she stayed. Saw her get beat and she stayed. And I remember I used to tell her, like, the girls are going to see that. And she's like, yeah, but they also know he's good. So me molestaba mucho because I do understand that, and one thing I've always tried to make it a point to the kids, and I've said that before, not to know about the arguments, not to hear arguments. I don't think that's for them. That's punto y aparte relationship versus like the parents. But they see everything, or they even
notice more than we think they do.
Well, just even like if they see you get frustrated, how do you behave when you're frustrated? What do you say when you're frustrated? How do you act towards others when you're frustrated? And sometimes I feel like it's easy cuando estamos bien y que estamos bien contentos y todo es paz y amor. Pero when you're frustrated, when you're heated, when you're in like high of emotions, how are you behaving that they see that?
And Laura and I talked about it because she said, cuando yo me enojo and I raise my voice, then why do I get upset when if Natalia gets mad, she throws a fit? She said, are kids not allowed to express themselves? And obviously she goes into explain like their brain capacity, it's so different. They haven't developed it. And yeah, you have to tell her 100 times so it sticks. And those are the things that a veces I remind myself as we're going through it.
But it's hard. But it's hard, I know, and I try to think that because Mateo's thing is that he has a lot of questions. Lots and lots of questions. And sometimes they don't make sense. And he'll be like, Mom, ¿qué pasó? So the car that's blue, why? I'm like, what? Use a complete sentence. And then I start getting frustrated. I'm like, Mateo, you're going to ask something, use a complete sentence. And then I get frustrated. I'm like, okay, sometimes la mayoría de las veces in my head, it's running so fast. When you have a conversation and you think someone's in your head and listening to him, like, that's probably him. So why am I like lashing out on him? So I'm like, Mateo, we use complete sentences because then I don't know what you're saying. You just said why the car is blue. What car, Mateo? What are you talking about? So, yeah, I think leading by example and being a role model is really, really, really hard. I think that probably is actually the hardest. Yeah. On top of patience. Because when you lose your patience, you're being a role model.
Yeah. Or even just habits that I tell her, go to bed early, pero yo me desvelo. Every little thing that I tell her, I look at myself. We talked about talking nice
about our bodies,
about ourselves. And she always hears me saying, ay, ando toda greñuda, ando toda esto, todo lo otro. And then I hear her saying, I'm like, whoa, whoa, hey. She's like, but you do it too. So it's a constant trying to remember there's someone out there who admires you like no one else.
And believes you like nobody else. Because if you say every morning, oh, this is such a world. This is like everything's so bad. She believes you, and she's gonna follow those footsteps. If she's gonna believe that it's okay for us to say negative things about ourselves.
And they also know you're because whenever I sit here and I tell her, Natalia, you got this. You're so smart. You could do anything you want. She's just like, but just 2 days ago you were saying that you can't. So why can I?
Because you're better.
Because you're everything I'm not.
Everything I'll never be.
Because I made you and you're perfect.
By myself. Okay, suegra. One of the things that I think I struggle with too is guilt. I feel guilty with almost everything. I feel the most guilt when I was still working. I felt, and I said that too, I think during the therapy session, that therapy episode, that I would try my best at work to get the best jobs, to get the best everything that was for us. And I would come home late and I'm like, I'm not being a good mom. I'm being a good employee, but I'm not being a good mom. I felt guilty that if the kids were sick, I had to call off work. I felt that I always had to choose one or the other. It was either work or it was either being a mom. And either way, I felt guilty. But the guiltiness for the kids is obviously hits deeper because the job is going to replace you. You can get a job anywhere. And that's not what fulfills me. What fulfills me is my kids. Yeah. So I've had a lot of guilty feelings when I do parenting. I feel guilty when I make the decisions. Like, así como acabo de decir, I don't know if I'm doing it right, I'm doing it wrong.
Do you feel guilty when you have fun and they're not
I was going to say that. I feel guilty even when I go out to eat. And I'm like, Bere would have liked this. Mateo would have loved this. Then I make it a point to make sure that to take them the next time or something because then I feel... No. I feel like I shouldn't be allowed. Yeah. I shouldn't be allowed to go somewhere to eat without them.
A struggle for me is balancing my life. Just because I try to not do things like if I wanted to go to Pilates or Muay Thai, I'm going to try to schedule all my classes around her schedule where I know what time she needs to be in shower, in bed. Like my life revolves around her schedule. And I think that for maybe the other parties involved, they make their kids adjust to their schedule. So finding a balance of I also have a life and I work and I also have to take care of myself and be a parent, it's hard to balance it porque a veces siento que some aspects suffer more than others. And at the end of the day, I used to justify it a lot as like, oh, she's little, she's not going to remember. I need to work now so I can provide for her and have all these things when in reality, they do notice and they don't really care about all these things. They care to have you home. Like I told Natalia on Saturday, I was like, I've cleared up my whole weekend. I have no plans. And anything and everything that we do this weekend, it's for you and about you. Oh my gosh, she wouldn't stop talking about it. She's like, yes, that's what I love. That's what I want. Where I used to spend my Saturdays working, trying to make extra money, trying to, so I can buy her this, so I can take her here, so I can do this for her.
And yeah, that's not what they care.
They don't care.
I've always had help from family that if I needed to do stuff that I could have their help in helping me with taking care of the kids. Whether you have your family or if it's baby daddy that helps. But imagine, I have a friend that has absolutely no help. She has them 24/7. She has no real help de que tú dijeras, this is where they are on Saturday. It's literally all her. So imagine that, como...
Yeah, I couldn't.
You can't even adjust your own schedule. Exactly. I think one of the struggles also is losing yourself, your identity. And at that point, how the hell do you not? Because you can't balance that, say, if you wanted to do Pilates, well, I'll do Pilates when she's with her dad, or I'll do Pilates when she's over here. When you have them 24/7, now you're feeling the guilt, and you can't balance, and you lost your identity. That's hard.
And I think that's the fear a lot of people have of becoming, or women becoming mothers.
Did you ever struggle with grieving your old life before being a mom? No. I think there's people that can struggle with grieving their old life. Ejemplo eso de que if you have no help because you don't have that alone time anymore, that you can go out and have drinks or dinner. And I also think that a huge struggle that a lot of moms go through is loneliness. Because if you're the first one to have a child of your like friend group or one of the first, they're still in a different time in their life. And not that you necessarily can't hang out, but you are also in a whole different thing in your life. So that can become really lonely. That can make you miss your old life. Not regret it, of course, but I think it's natural.
Especially for the first couple of years, that you only had to care about yourself, and then you have a baby and it looks so different. And I don't feel like I missed my life before I was a mom, but also not that it was very much planned.
But do you think, it has to do that you have help?
1,000%.
Because I think
1,000, and not just help, but like an extremely supportive mom and dad and brothers and friends. And her dad is involved. Cada quien su rollo, but he's not an absent parent.
I think we have struggles that we can say, but there's so many more struggles. Ejemplo eso, de que no tienes ayuda, so they could be like, well, sí, que padre. Dices, no, don't lose your identity, but when am I gonna go out and have drinks when you don't have parents, when you don't have siblings? I wouldn't say a thankless job, but it's a job where selfless job. It's something that there's people that struggle with special needs or there's people that have like 2 kids que uno tenga special needs, and I can imagine them struggling with the guilt of dándole atención a uno y no al otro, y no es de atención que le quiera, pero es necesario. Sí. I think you have those struggles, and then you think they have like an identity, you think that they have dinner dates. I do think I have to say that I have struggles, of course. Pero le doy gracias a Dios that I have more blessings and more like happy moments and struggles, and that my struggles, some people wish for those struggles. So I don't want to be tone deaf. Or there's like also como that, the struggle of like your kid was abused, of living with that, and that you, let's say you put them in that daycare, whatever, thinking that they're safe, por no dejarlos en la calle solos o en la casa solos.
Someone that you trusted and you brought into your home, whether it's a partner or a family member, and they were the ones que le hicieron algo a tu kid.
Es que sí, o sea, sé que hay struggles, but I don't want to be tone deaf de que these are the worst struggles, but these are the things that I can only speak on, but that there is...
But we're aware that hay gente que la tiene bien difícil.
Súper. Pero even then, the love for the kids
is what keeps you going. It's what keeps you going.
Literally, es el motor, like, de que puedes tener todo esto, y como pienso en ella, de que like, she really has not a support system, like, que tú digas está estable, ¿verdad? Like a stable one. But why do you keep doing it? Because you have to for your kids. No te queda de otra. Y no es de que nomás digas no te queda otra. Is what drives you.
Yeah. Quieres salir de esa. You have the desire for them. Because I think a veces pienso like, if I wasn't a mom, would I push as hard?
At some point, whether you want to or not, you have to. Sí. Because you are responsible, y eso sí te nace, pero...
No todo. No a todas y a todos, because we usually say like motherhood, hay veces que hay mujeres que se hacen a un lado, abandonan a sus hijos or don't fulfill, and the dad has to step in, or the grandma or the tía or whatever. So no a todos les nace the nurture part of it.
Yeah. Struggles we have a lot. I think we all can say that. What would you say are the biggest joys you have that come from motherhood?
Unconditional love.
That you give or you receive?
Both.
Do you think it's unconditional that you receive?
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Right now or forever?
I think right now.
You're like, damn, never mind.
I think about for now. Well, no, I think about it myself as a daughter. I love my mom no matter what she's done. Does our relationship change? Yeah, but I don't think my love for my mom changes. I still love her very much. Sometimes the hurt that she causes does shape a little bit of how I feel, but it doesn't end my love for her. So I think that for Natalia, I am working very hard to not kill or change the love that we have for each other.
So I just talked to Elsa, to Laura, to you too, bro, no, to Laura, and I said that I needed a little bit of distance from my dad because he can be, I've told you, like very opinionated, very, if it's not the way that, if I'm not living life the way that he wants me to, it's not the correct way. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I just need a little spacey.
Does he want to hang out with my dad?
Well, we want to put our moms together.
Por eso
why not with our dads? Brothers next.
Double dates. Oh my god.
Fix the whole family. So I told Laura that I needed a little spacey space, right? And I said, I felt guilty. And she said, why do you feel guilty? And I said, because I feel like I'm being a bad daughter. Mm. And we talked about that, and I told her I wouldn't want my kids to feel the way that I'm feeling right now, and the fact that they would need to have some space from me. And I was like, and that scares me. And sometimes I'm like, don't give the space because this is gonna be bad karma. And I'm like, and then I talk to myself, and I'm like, no, the space I am needing is because the way that he is, and I'm working really, really hard to not be like that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But I can understand from what you say. That's why I'm like, is it unconditional? It's unconditional for me with my kids, right? But is it unconditional from them to us? So what you say, like, yeah, they may say something that I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if I'm fully agreeing with you.
You don't think you're like you're gonna love your parents no matter what? Someone could hurt me, and I'm gonna maybe, like you say, distance myself, but I'm not gonna love you less.
I think that could be true. I'm trying to like unravel my thoughts. They're like in a little knot right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it's that. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think it's that I would love you less, but I do see you differently. Mm-hmm.
I think
maybe that's conditional. Is that conditional? I don't know.
No, because you're still loving them. Porque even if you're so mad at your dad and your dad needed you today, you're gonna be there for him.
That's what she said, and I'm like, yeah.
Right?
But I'm not gonna be there for you. Just like I'm not gonna go put my I'm not gonna go and put myself in a situation where I don't need to be there to hear you and like to get myself triggered.
Yes.
So yeah, that's true.
Okay. Because part of that unconditional love that we have I would think for my mom, comes distancing myself because I love you so much. I don't want to disrespect you because you're disrespecting me. Mm-hmm. I don't want to give it back to you. So I love you that much that I'm willing to, like, it hurts me to distance myself from you, but I'm going to do it. And just like you said, if you ask me, what is the reason, number one reason that I started therapy is because I was hurt and I reflected and I definitely wanted to put in the work so that I never make my daughter feel that way, or that just even in things like I feel like ella está creciendo and she's changing and we're butting heads a little bit. So I want to be prepared. I want to be able to deal with it, with myself, with what I feel. She's going to grow up and it's going to hurt when she does her own thing in her own life, and I don't want to be going into this deep hole of like I didn't prepare myself.
I'll be there first. If you don't want to be alone, you're not. I'll be there.
We'll be in the hole together.
There's a huge age gap between Bere and Natalia. Like, it's fine. I'll sleep with you. Este está reservado para mi amiga Elsa. Ahí viene. No se preocupen.
Oh, yes. Yeah, but I think that's love. Mm. Yeah, I do think it's unconditional. Because mi mamá, when she talks about her mom, when I think of a mom, que las cosas que ella me platica from her mom, I feel so bad. Yet my mom loves her mom so much.
And that,
even though she feels unloved by her mother. It's like children who are beat by their parents. Mm-hmm. And they still love their parents.
Yeah.
Like that.
Crackhead. Like, did we just talk about this?
Yeah.
Then crackhead babies love their crackhead moms. It's their mom. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Que no vaya a querer yo a mi papá.
Why the fuck are you comparing me to crackheads?
That's another view. One of the big joys that I also get from my kids is, I don't know if it's joy or pride in myself también, guiding them, giving them tools, and seeing them use it and blossom into like these personalities that I don't want to sound selfish, but like that make me probably not because it's like to fulfill me, but because I know it's healthy, because I know it's now I sound like my dad, the best for them. But do you know what I mean? Like example, like Amateo siempre would, since he was little, when he would like get frustrated or start crying, I'm like, hold on, take a deep breath, and I'm like, deep breath, and then we do it at least 3 times. Okay, do we need more? Okay, 3 more deep breaths. And I would do it with him desde chiquito, and when he would see me cry, he's like, deep breath, okay, together. And he sees it and he utilizes it, and I'm just like, seeing them like do things that I know are good for them, that are healthy, and that you guided them and you giving them tools, and they use it. I'm like, oh my god, that's like
becoming their own person.
Their personalities.
Yeah,
so
when
funny.
their personalities are
when they show,
when they are proud of themselves for the things that they accomplish in school and sports, at home, whatever. Like when, por decir, even when they're learning how to ride a bike and se caen and they finally figure it out. I mean, those are the things that like, you're just like, oh my god, yes.
Yes. I love that.
Because growing up is bittersweet. It's like,
for who? For you or for them?
For me.
Okay.
For mom. To be like, yes, like she's doing so good and I'm so proud. But that also means like she's growing up. She's not gonna need me as much. She's gonna be her own person. She's gonna move out one day.
Me duele mucho mi eso. I say that all. I don't know. I'm a broken record. I don't know the day that like I won't have the kids. I'll keep popping kids until I die. Because I love seeing them. I told Laura, I was like, I cry a lot just thinking that Vera gets older. And I use Vera a lot because she's the one that's closest to that age. And I think she was trying to ask to see if it's unhealthy. She's like, wait, like,
are you obsessed with
yourself? Or like, are you not gonna let her? And I'm like, no, I want her to go and yeah, ándale. And I'm like, I want her to like go and do whatever she wants and what's gonna make her happy, right? But I'm like, the small things make me happy with them, like waking up and saying good morning, persinándola antes de dormir. A Mateo también, or Mateo every morning, if he wakes up first, he like goes and wakes me up and he's like, my hug, and like a huge, and I'm just like, you fall in love with like the routines with them, like.
But then you're gonna have other routines, like.
But I don't want other routines.
To see her have kids.
Yeah, nice, but not yet.
I think it's hard to think of because
because it's not your reality yet.
But once you discover those new loves, I mean. Was your mom with you when you gave birth to your kids?
No, not Mateo, because it was a C-section. And you can only have one person.
Did you see, I guess how do I explain it? When my mom was in the room and I had Natalia, and my mom, like, to see her face, her eyes when she saw Natalia for the first time, it was a whole new experience and love for me. That I knew, like, my mom was experiencing a new love.
Like, unlocked. Like, it's like unlocked. I think I look back at everything. When I have like my emotional times, I start looking at videos and it's spiral, dude.
Yes.
I can't.
That is my guilty pleasure, but it's also my favorite way to hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
I will look at old pictures of Natalia or videos and I'm just like,
yes. And it's not the fact that it's like I don't want you big anymore, but I feel como que I was trying to grasp every second and I still did it, and it's like I still every day and I'm like, okay,
I don't feel like I missed out, but I still want more of it, or
exactly.
I think one of my biggest joys are all the memories that I am getting to create with her, because that's my favorite thing, surprising Natalia and creating a memory of she was this old and this is what she liked. We always talk about JoJo C, even though JoJo C was like completely like not what she was when we used to go see her. But
insert mom shame. No, just kidding.
How happy she was when she would see JoJo C when she saw the beach for the first time, or when she tried ice cream, or like cosas así. Like creating memories for me is what keeps me going. I just want to cherish every moment and just make it special. My nephew says I'm extra. when it comes to Natalia. Because I want everything to be over the top for her. I want her to remember everything and everything be a happy memory for her.
I can relate to that. Where I think I do things a little bit different is, like, Mato loves to help me cook, and I want him to always be there. Like, if he wants to help me cook, to always say yes. Y que tenga la memoria que mi mamá siempre me ayudaba. Or with, like, traditions. Or the memories when we go to Mexico every year. I remember my memories of my childhood, and the best ones were, like, the most simple ones. Sí. I remember in Mexico, every time I would go with my dad, because my mom at the time couldn't go, I would go with my dad every night before going to sleep. My grandpa and my dad would be outside, and they would write, like, they would do hopscotch. Le decíamos mamá leche. And whoever lost tenía que picharle los otros clamato. Y ahí iba yo a comprar el clamato con mi dinerito que me daban. And I don't know why I always remember that. Or when I would always be sick, every time I got sick, I would get headaches when I was little, my mom would bring me una paleta payaso and a Gatorade Sport. Yeah. So I know they're not, for me, they weren't like extra, but those are the things that like hit home. Yes. And that for me, they're memories. So I don't know what my kids' memories are going to be, but I try to
be present
and try to like do some sort of routine. Memories is a good one. That's all you have left.
That's it. When it all goes away.
That's all you have left.
And it doesn't have to be nothing crazy.
No, and my grandparents too. The biggest memories, and pone que no mi mamá, mi abuelita, but like we were always with her, and she always stayed with us when she would come from Mexico. We would go and walk every tarde. Yo estaba embarazada de Bere, y ella tenía diabetes, so she needed to walk. And we would walk every tarde, and everything that we would talk about. And I'm like, it's so simple, but it was quality time. I think that's what it was. It was attention for me, that it was like, it's me and you. With my dad, it was like the hopscotch, it's me and you. My mom, I felt sick, and she's like, it's me and you, and I'm like, I'm here. Same thing with my grandma. Our walks, it was me and her. It was just very bonding. That's what I want my kids. Yeah, that's what I want my kids to feel. Yes. But yeah, at the end of the day, that's all you're left with. Porque la gente se va, la gente fallece, y te quedaste con la memoria. I also find joy in doing things with them and embracing my inner child and reliving things. Like if it's at the park and not having the phones, and leave the phones away and just being with them, comprar un elotito que haya ahí, or the ice cream or whatever, and just get on the swings. And for me, I feel like I'm reminiscing my inner child, and then I'm spending time with them, but it's something that like it's both at the same time. That sometimes it isn't always work
You're fulfilling them and also fulfilling yourself. Do you think that there were things that you wanted to do as a kid that now you get to do them with your kids, and you're like, well, that was stupid? That's me with the zoo.
Wait, what do you mean?
I used to always ask my mom to go to the zoo, and my mom hated going to the zoo. And now that I go to the zoo, I'm like, okay, like this is stupid. I get what my mom did.
I love the zoo.
No, I'm not like, I love it for like an hour, and then I'm like,
which one do you go to?
Phoenix Zoo.
Oh, I don't like Phoenix Zoo.
I've been to San Diego Zoo and stuff like that.
Have you been to the wildlife? I like the wildlife. Yeah. That's my favorite. Oh, I love the zoo. No. I hate the weather. Have you done something with Natalia that embraced your inner child that maybe you wanted to do before?
When I was little, I really wanted those backyard play sets with like the casita de madera and the swing slide and all that. And as a kid, I didn't understand why my parents wouldn't buy it for me. And now as an adult, I know like vivíamos en lo que le llaman en Mexico el Infonavit. So no, there was room for it. Once my parents, we moved here and they got a house here when we were older. I remember that as soon as Natalia was old enough to get on a swing, I went and bought a big old playset. And I got it for her. She played in that hasta que when she would swing, the swing would like wobble the whole unit because she was past the age. That is one of those that I fulfilled, that I was like, okay. Another one was like, I don't care how she treats her Barbies. When I was a kid, my mom was really hard on me on how I treated my Barbies. And I didn't understand why. And now I do. Obviously, my mama, when she was a kid, she always got like hand over toys that her sisters didn't want. she never got anything of her own. So she appreciated toys and she wanted me to appreciate toys. Where now me with Natalia, si Natalia le quiere cortar el pelo a la Barbie, que se lo corte. Just know Mamacita is not going to grow back and I'm not buying another one. But if you're okay with Crazy Barbie or what do they call her?
Like
Weirdo Barbie?
Angelica too.
Then you're going to have a weirdo Barbie, a Cynthia.
The Cynthia.
Yeah. Or having a puppy. I wanted to have a puppy when I was a kid. And my mom was like, I hate dogs, no. And now I'm like, I don't love dogs, but here's Wiggles, like everywhere we go. And
will you say no to something that you hate because even if she wants it, like a cat?
Yeah. I'm not, I know there's no way I'm going to
Isn't it crazy that, like, not that we judge, but isn't it crazy to be like, why can't you? But then we're willing to do the same thing.
Yeah, but I feel like I compromise a lot more than my mom ever did. My mom era por sus huevos, y ahí quedó. Y yo am more like, hey, like, if not this, what about this? I try to work with her. I'm not very, like, tajante de que just because I say so. Because that's what I hated about my mom.
I told Luis one time, I learned that I don't want to do that with my kids. My dad was always like, porque yo dije ya, punto. Y se dijo, y yo soy el papá.
Yo mando.
Y ahí estuvo. And I hated it. And I don't do that with my kids. What I do with my kids is I explain to them. And I say no, and this is why. And Mateo, like, I explain to him so he understands and it's not just a power trip. I admire from my kids something that I don't have is like that they're more compassionate and nicer to people. I think maybe because I have more anger still inside me. That I'm like, no, them, be mean to them.
Do you think that at their age you did have the compassion in life?
I've always had, I feel compassion, but era más peleonera. But I was an angry child.
Okay.
And Betty's like, well, I'm just gonna keep smiling to her, and if she wants to give me a bad face, that's on her. She's like, that's not me. And I'm just like, I like admire the way that they are. That I'm like, why can't I be like that?
Why did I choose to hate them?
No, you see, why did I choose to like maldiciarlos?
But that means we're doing a good job. That our kids are making better choices than us. That are living a better life in all aspects, a healthier mental life, just everything. And I'm happy for that.
I told Laura, I was like, I would redo everything in my life again, but knowing that I know that my kids will not go through the things that I went through is amazing.
You know, it's one of the guilts in motherhood that I feel is, and I don't know what it is, is the father that I chose for her.
Yeah, 100%.
And this is not to talk. I know she very much loves her dad and enjoys being with him, but I think I'm more her safe zone.
I don't want to like dismiss your feelings, but not everyone has both parents as a safe zone. So some people have one, some people have none. So I wouldn't put that on yourself. I would take more pride that they get to have that safe zone and that they.
Girl,
who's they? She
better not jinx me. Well, with that, I'll say, here comes Mother's Day. Don't forget to buy your mom some special treats, whether that's her favorite chocolates, roses, a card. I think a card goes a long way.
When I was looking through our old photos, I saw a card that my dad gave to my grandma, and my grandma already passed, and I just started bawling. But it's those things that you know, y pone que ella ya no está to keep that, but how long did she not keep that for?
Oh, yes.
So I think, I think you have, eso es like a pasar. And if you don't have a mom, then and you are a mom, then enjoy your kids. Like, celebrate it with them, because not everybody has moms either.
Yeah, and then just, I'm always forever grateful, because I know that there's a lot of women out there who wish they could be moms and they have not been able to be moms, and so I don't ever want to take that for granted.
But I think they're moms in their heart too.
Oh yeah, there's people who would be amazing moms who've not been able to physically be a mom, and there are moms who have had children who just, I don't know how life allowed that.
I agree. I like this topic. Alrighty.
Bye.
Bye.